Hello, and welcome to the Counselor New Feature Summary for September 2020. This is part two. We're going to focus on two really rather important enhancements. The first is a new option for business hours mapping. This enables you to set a static schedule and have that display within Counselor without having to create recurring blocks. This is important for start of the day and end of the day. So for example, if you come in 8 to 5 on Mondays, but then 9 to 4 on Tuesdays, this will make it much easier to see that in Counselor without having to create recurring blocks. It also is very handy if you have multiple locations. As you'll see in a moment here, it allows you to set the specific hours per user per location, and it just makes it much easier, much cleaner to see overall. So as I mentioned, this will let you set your business hours once. The schedule blocks then are automatically generated. So as a result of this, you may be actually, of course, removing some of the recurring blocks that you've already created. Now, the new blocks that are created are non-compete, so if someone attempts to create an appointment at that same time, they will receive a warning. That warning can be overridden, but out of the gate, if they try scheduling you when you're out of the office, they'll know right away. These blocks are also non-editable. So if you have a specific time saying, hey, at noon on Thursdays, I'm in a different location, someone could not inadvertently delete that block. Now, as we'll show you in a moment here, this setting is available through administration and through under the schedule option. So it's important to note that this is a user-specific setting. So each person who's on the schedule will need to go into administration and then schedule options once they're logged in and make these changes. All right, let's actually have a look at this. So I'm going to jump into the Sandbox account here and under Dr. Rogers, and I'm going to say, okay, for Dr. Rogers, let's go to administration and schedule options. There's a new area here called business hours. Go ahead and click there. And what you'll see is that in this test account, we have 3 clinics in place. For Dr. Rogers, she is available from 8 to 5, 8 to 5, 8 to 5, 8 to 5, 9 to noon, and not available on Saturday. If we switch to the Simpson Clinic, what we'll see is that she's not available throughout the whole week except for from noon to 5 on Fridays and then 9 to 2 on Saturday. And then if we go to Yucca Clinic, we can see she's not available at all. Okay, any changes you make to this, of course, you can go ahead and modify this as needed. Just make sure you go ahead and click Save, and you'll get a message saying changes saved. Okay, then we can just close this screen. We can go right back to the schedule, and we'll be able to see this in action. So now looking at Dr. Rogers' schedule for the week, we can see that now we are in the Sandbox Clinic. In the Sandbox Clinic, we noted that she was in from 9 to noon. Okay, so it automatically added a block, blocking her from 8 to 9. And then she's available from 9 to noon, and then out again as of noon. And then, of course, we can see she's out on Saturday. Now, if we are to flip this over to the Simpson Clinic, what we'll see is that she is blocked throughout the whole week with the exception of noon to 5 on Friday, and then the 9 to 2 on Saturday. Okay, so that all was set up just by going into administration and then schedule options and creating the specific static schedule that you want. Now, I do want to mention that if some of you have variable schedules where one week you're in one location 2 days and then the next week it might change, you're not quite sure, this may not be the best option for you overall. It may be for segments of your days or times or specific clinics. This is more designed for, hey, we have a pretty reliable schedule. We're going to go ahead and set that in place. Okay. One thing you'll also notice is that if you have the, sorry, let me bring this up to the Sandbox schedule. If you have the display additional clinics option in place, what this does is it reduces the noise in the schedule because for many of you, you have multiple locations. With your current setup with the recurring blocks, you see all those blocks. And so it just makes the schedule a lot noisier, particularly when you start looking at perhaps multiple users across, say, a week. Okay, this gives you a much better look at just saying, okay, who's available in this location, who's available in this location, right? Let's go from there. Okay, another important note to remember, let's go back into the schedule options, is that if you use Counselor for online scheduling, you also want to make sure, of course, that these hours match up with what you want. These are likely already set as you need, but it would be a good idea to give this another look just to make sure there's not any conflict, that perhaps you will make sure you don't have any instances where you are not available on your main schedule, but you're listing yourself as available on scheduling, unless you specifically want that to happen. So you just want to review these hours, make sure that they are the way you are for where you want them for each location, and then of course once again go ahead and click save. All right. Of course, if you have any questions about this, please contact the support team. We're happy to kind of talk this through with you and help you set up your individual clinic settings. All right, let's go ahead and look at the second option here. So this is related to patient notes. While it sounds really simple, this can be really handy. What it allows you to do is set a specific note as priority. What that means is if you have a lot of patient notes in a patient profile, which happens, right? Because Counselor is tracking all of those different things that are happening, all the emails that are going out, all of the invoices are being sent, all those different things are being tracked. So if you look at this patient, for example, we'll see that a lot has happened. Okay, apparently we sent him a lot of statements in one day. This is a particularly noisy profile. You wouldn't know you have it be this noisy, but just to give you a general idea. But if you said, hey, you know, there's a note that I really want to just always have it top of the list. Okay, great. So we're going to go ahead and just I'll grab this one, the annual check letter. Not particularly one you'd make a priority, but just for an example. I'm going to go ahead and check the priority box, and what that will do is it will refresh the screen, and now we can see that that one is set to the top. So if there's anything particular you want to track about this patient, it might be things about, their spouse's name. It may be something about their overall history you want to track. Perhaps they are very fond of their pets and you want to make sure you remember those top of mind. Or there's other just things that you really want to bring to the top. You can set that as a priority. Right? And then of course you always could remove that later on if you decide that wasn't a priority anymore, so you don't have to keep it there. But basically what it means is that once it's a priority, you see it right at the top. Okay, so as I mentioned, if you have any questions about these changes, please give us a call, email us, live chat us. We're always happy to help. If you were requesting specific help with getting your schedule reconfigured, just let us know. Perhaps send us an email with the details of what you'd like changed. That may take us a bit of time to work through, but we're very happy to assist. So thank you very, very, very much for joining us for the Counselor Enhancements and Updates overview for September 2020, Part 2.